so here we are, and what a cool idea. I am going to take the SPI 328 Mark II that we did the keyboard upgrade on for the ribbon cable, and I'm going to take out the 9929 that's in it, put a socket in, and let's see if we can bring this thing screaming into the 21st century with HDMI. Sounds like a plan. So grab yourself a drink, maybe something to snack on, and let's get on with it. Okay, so here I have the SpectraVideo 328 Mark II, and I've taken the screws out. I've gone ahead a little bit ahead time and taken all the screws out just to make this a little bit quicker. So I've taken all the screws out of the bottom and out of the board, so the top comes off, and as you can see, it's our unit we did the ribbon cable mod on. There is an update to that, and it's on the end of one of my videos. Apparently pin 1 and 2 on this end here actually combined to the same pin. So I had an odd issue with it, and then I went through and had a look at the schematic, and yeah, they both go together. So I've taken the 2 pins, I moved everybody along. I started from the left hand and went across and put pins 1 and 2 onto the first pin, and it's working fine now. There's not an issue with it. So I've unscrewed everything out of here, and as you can see, that's the video board and audio board and the shield and the motherboard, and I've taken the screws all out of the motherboard and that as well, because we have to take all the screws out because of the way the motherboard sits in this. It goes through this part of the shield at the back, and because the board goes through that, you can't physically lift it up to get it out, because you have to lift it up and bring it forward to take these all out of the slots in the side of the case. So you have to undo all the mounting screws on it so the whole shield comes out, and then you can take the board off the shield and put the shield back on. And you've got to put it back in with the shield. When you put it back in, you can't put the shield in and then the board. But as you see, you just lift it up and then just slide it back out. And your two problems with it is this shield here at the back, where the edge connector pokes through, and this locator pin. And if you look at that locator pin, you can see it there. See how much taller it is than the mounting screws? That comes up through this slot in the board, and it sits up over the board, and it's so much higher that you can't actually physically try and rock the board in because it sits up so much taller. It's not used for anything, so if you really wanted to, you could probably cut it down, but you know, pull out another 3 or 4 screws and take the whole thing out. It's not a big deal. So anyway, we're going to take the board off of that. It slides off fairly easy. Okay, and that goes down, and this is what we want because this is the chip we've got to remove. So we'll take that, we'll put that in here. Oh, don't lose the screws, he says. Put that part of the shield in here, and we'll take that and move that out the way. And this is the one we want, so that's the screws for those. I just had these covering the other screws just so you didn't get a bit distracted on what I am doing. So these are all the screws for that machine. So what I'll do is I will just grab a container to put them all in. Okay, and so here I'm back, and I'll have me a container. So put these in here. And the thing is to remember too, guys, is the SpectraVideo has 2 types of screws. One is a self-tapping, and the other is a machine screw. And you can tell which is which because of the, if you look at the board where the mounting points are, you'll see the little brass threads that are actually inside the plastic holes for to do it. And of course we know there's 6 of these for mounting the case back together as well. So that's all our screws are safely out the way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have to take all this horrible bloody hot melt glue off to get it off of this, and then we'll need to turn it over, and I'll use the hot air and the desoldering gun, and we'll desolder this chip. We don't want to have too much heat on it to kill the chip. We'd rather keep the chip if we can. The other nice idea about doing this that I can see is that the chips are getting harder and harder to get. The older they get, there's a lot of fake ones out in the world now. Places that are getting chips that look the same and remarking them, or selling partially working chips. So this way, I think, is a way forward in that giving us a modern version of the same thing. I'm going to put one of these tiny Nano K9 VDPs in here, which has the HDMI out only on it, but I might change my mind later on and put one of the version 1s in it, which has HDMI and VGA. It'll fit in this board because there is a lot of room in the case, and it's high enough for it to sit in here. So I'm going to socket this, and to test it out, I think we'll test it out with just the HDMI version of the chip and see how she runs. I did do a test on it, and I tried it on the Yamaha CX5M that I'm repairing, and it gave me the heads up that there's an issue further inside. So it was good as a diagnostic tool. It told me which end to look at. So anyway, without any more ado, I will get to doing this. I won't yak to you while I'm doing it, because it just makes it longer. So I'll just get into it and start doing this and sorting this out, and we'll come back to it when we've finished. Alrighty. And as you've seen there, that's the problem with the way they mounted this with the voltage regulators the way they did. There's no movement on it for the board, and these tend to break. So what I'm going to do is, I actually played around with this a while ago, well, quite a few years ago, is I swung these around, mounted them the other way up or out to the sides, and then I just soldered leads with insulation on them and ran them back and actually soldered them into the holes. So then these were on a flexible piece, and when you unscrewed it, it was flexible to move it around. They weren't going to be on the pins themselves that were being bent and moved and broken. I'm going to put some new ones on. I've got some new ones of these. It's only 12 and 5 volt. I'm going to replace those and put brand new ones on, and I'll just run the leads to them. And it's easy to do. You can wire your leads from the new ones pin to pin, and then undo the screw and then turn them around and just run your wires over the side, down the sides, or over the top back to it. So we'll carry on. And that's how quick it is. I mean, it's not hard to do. So as you saw, I was just trying to work out how best to hold this in place while I soldered it in, and I was going to use that and try and make that set up high enough, but then yeah, that didn't work. So I put another socket on top, put the tape across, as you've seen me doing in the past few videos. Put the tape across, held it in place, tacked two corners, took it off, turned it over, and what I do with my fingers is I just gently press on it underneath while it's upside down, and I just heat the corner, and if it needs to go in, you'll hear it go click. And the same on the other corner, you heat it up, you hear it go click. So do that a couple of times and make sure it's in there firm, and then you can tag the other two sides and then go down the whole lot either side, or however you want to do them. So those are all done. So I'll give those a bit of a clean up now. I'll grab a couple of regulators to replace these two, and solder those up, and we'll put those on, and then it's a matter of just drop the FPGA in here, and we'll fire it up and see how she goes. We'll give it a go and see how it goes, and see if it all works. So I'll just pause you here for a second. I'll go and grab some power regulators and replace these broken ones. Be back soon. Right, so I'm back now, and I've got a couple of 05s and some 7812s, so I can replace those two that are on there. So what I'll do is I'll get some wire and I'll put some leads on these first, on the two ICs, and then I'll replace them on here to where they go on the board, and we'll go from there. And that's what I say, guys, I never throw anything away. They're off an old AT or ATX power supply, and rather than throw them away, if the power supply is dead, I take the leads out and the wire's good, or you might need one with a plug on the end or something like that. It's always handy. Okay, and as with all voltage regulators, it's generally pin 1, 1, 2 and 3, which is in, ground and out. So I'll make my in voltage will be a yellow, ground's black, and the out can be the red wire. And I'll do that for both of them. I think it's I don't have a different coloured wire, so I can make red. I suppose I could have a look for a different colour, eh? And that way we could have red for 5 volts, yellow for 12 volts, black for ground, and the other colour can be our in voltage. Or we could do just black as the in voltage too, I suppose. I'll have a look. Hang on. So guys, anyway, what I was thinking about is the wire might be too thick to go through the holes in the board. So I've just gone out and looked for a whole bunch of thinner stuff, which I think may do our job. So, I mean, failing that, I can actually probably put some header pins in here and then solder to those. Okay, so we've got it all done, and I changed my mind on how I wanted to mount these, and I was going to do them the other way around. Yeah, a little bit much after and then. I just thought, no, that'll be fine, because that'll mount on, and at least they're flexible now. So I've done that, so this is all ready to go. I gave the board a little bit of a quick clean, so now I'm just gonna mount the main board back into the case and put all the bits back on it, and I'll drop the standard processor in here first, just to make sure everything's working fine. And if that all works fine, then I'll turn it off, take it out, and we'll put the Tang in it and see how we go with the HDMI. Alrighty, so let's get on with it. And as you saw there, I had a little bit of issues, but it's under this corner. There's one of these sort of tabs, and it'll catch on the corner of it, and it's just trying to get that last bit in, so that's why I had to pull it out and jiggle it around and get it back in again. So yep, now it's in there, so it's just a matter of screwing it all back together. Okay, she's all plugged in. I'm just going to move that camera around. I'll move the tripod. I'll move the camera. Okay, and we're ready. Shall we turn it on? Oh, a little bit jittery, so we might have to. It could be the processor because the pins don't look that great. So I might have to just swap it out for one of the brand new ones I got, because that processor being desoldered might be a little bit iffy. So I might do that. So at least we're getting a picture on it, which is good. Yeah, and as you can see, that's a lot better. I'll bring it in a little bit closer. And as I was saying, as you can see, that's a lot clearer picture than the other chip was. So I'm just wondering if the other one might have been a little bit dodgy. So, and it wasn't sitting in there very nice. So what I'll do now is I'll turn her off and we'll put the FPGA in and I'll set it up and we'll see what we get on the big screen, eh? Okay, so we're all ready now, and I'm just going to switch the screen over to HDMI and then we'll power on. And here we go. So how's that, guys? How would you like to bring your SpectraVideos, ColecoVisions, MSX1s into the 21st century? This is running HDMI on a 24-inch TV, not a monitor, a TV. Now you can, if you like the retro feel, you can actually put a jumper on this and set scan lines in, and it gives you that sort of really retro feel to it. Now there was one issue with this. I'll just switch the screens back around and I'll just show you what I was talking about. Right, so what one of the issues was, I'll just open the lid back up, and I just got a bit of paper on there because I didn't want the screw. I didn't want the screw heads on the keyboard to short. But the little ribbon cable that's here. Now, when you buy them like this long. They're about 300mm long. So I sort of went in half, cut it in half, put another header on it, 150mm. The problem is that it's too long and it picks up interference, and that's, I was having issues where it was intermittent and glitching and that on the screen. I couldn't work out why. I got a hold of the guy who built this and set it all up, and he said to me, try this, try that. I did have a faulty 245 LVA in here as well, so just watch out for those. And you could tell because the unit gets very, very hot if you've got a faulty LVA in it. Both the FPGA and the board do. And that's why I knew there was something that was not quite right with it, and he pointed me in that direction. But the other thing I was having was intermittent with the screens, and it'll come up and then go garbage and that. And he said check the length of your cable, because he only uses 100 centimeters total from outside to outside of the plugs. And I measured mine, and mine were 150. So I thought, oh well, it's worth a try. So I took the plug off one end, cut it down and made it 100mm long, 10 centimeters, plugged it in, bang, away she went, perfect. I have tried this in the CX5M and I get a perfect picture out of that as well. The MSX screen and everything comes up in it. So that we can go further on with, and I'll ask the customer what he wants to do. But that points to there's an issue on the output side of it. So whether he wants to keep it as original, or I can also offer him one of these kits to go into it and give him HDMI out on it. So anyway, that's where we are up to here. So this is all working fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some double-sided, I've got some double-sided foam tape. I'll put it on the bottom of the board so it doesn't short, and I want to put a bit across the top. And then I'm going to mount this over here, and I'll run the HDMI for now just through the back. And I'll later on, I don't really like destroying the cases for no reason. So for now, I'm just going to run it out over the side because I won't be using the RF out on it. So the cable will sit over here. And I'll just show you the cable. Sorry, it's actually plugged in. So this is the cable here. So what I've done is I've put the foam tape on the bottom here. I'm going to sit it over the back here, like so, and then I'm just going to run this cable out through the hole in the back. So I could take this board out, but there's enough room to get it in without that. So I can just go over and slide it in. Need two hands for this. And that's more just so it doesn't short on anything and to protect the FPGA. So, and the same as what stuff is underneath as well. So, I mean, and that's it. That'll be it there. So, yeah. So, that's all good. So, now I'll just put the lid down. And so, we just turn it over, put the screws in. And then we'll fire it back up and make sure everything's working okay. And, yeah, we're all good. Well, there you go, guys. We've brought the SpectraVideo Mark II from the 80s into the 21st century. How cool is that? We're boasting an HDMI out on this. I've left the AV there. I've just run the lead out through the back, as you saw, because I'm not going to use the RF, but I need the tape port because I am doing a TzxDuino Mega for this, so I don't have to worry about a cassette deck. So I just had I had to wait for a micro SD card socket. I had one on there. I had a bridge on it. Tried to take it off and buggered it, so I had to get a new one. So that's just come in. So that'll be the next video I finish off. But anyway, a couple of caveats with this. The ribbon cable you need to use between the two boards if you do the two board version is that needs to be no longer from outside of the plug to outside of the other plug 100 mil, 10 centimeters. Any more than that and you're going to get interference. I came a cropper with that with this, and that it started to play up a little bit, and that's what it was. Apart from I did have a faulty LVA. You'll know if they are faulty because you'll feel the board and the FPGA will start getting hot. That's what I found, and we traced it down to that. But yes, just a big thumbs up to the chappie who designed this, and thank you very much. I know I've got a few vintage PCs that are going to be very happy. I have a ColecoVision Atom that I am going to be working on in the future, so there's one there for you guys, and this will get that upgrade as well. I'm also going to do an internal power supply for it, non-destructive one, so I can just run it off a normal wall wart rather than having to run it through the printer, which was half the problem with them in the early days. So I've got that to do. It needs a few fixes to it. There's issues with the machine as well, and I've got some spare boards I bought in to just in case. So anyway guys, there we have it. I hope you enjoyed this one and it was something really interesting. You're gonna want to put your SpectraVideo on HDMI when you see these pictures. It really does make a difference. There's an option on the board to give it scan lines if you'd like scan lines, and that just gives you a bit more of the retro feel if you want it. But other than that, no jumpers are needed on the board at all. It works as is, the same as in MSX1. There are a lot of information on his webpage, and you guys can take it from there. So that's it from me, and as I always say, you guys have a good one, and till next time, ciao.